Homelessness is an ever-growing issue. Its prevalence has led us to clump people together into one blurred, generalized group. As a result of these set stereotypes, we don't bother to delve deeper into the issue and understand the reasons behind each person's misfortune. What we fail to realize is that a homeless person isn't only a middle-aged man or woman walking around the streets at night dressed in dirty, worn clothing. Being homeless can happen to anyone regardless of age and gender. Oftentimes, we overlook the biggest portion of the homeless population, our youth. Even those you least expect, the ones with the seemingly brightest smiles and futures in the daylight, could be struggling to find a place to rest at night. When you look at the people around you on campus, you might see your partner in math class or the usual familiar faces you walk past in the halls every day on your way to English. Riverside alone, 551 homeless students have been recorded in RUSD. At RCC, 89 are living unsheltered on campus on tennis courts, benches, and anything else that permits them a space to rest. On CSU campuses, 8.7% of the student population experiences homelessness at any given time. And on UC campuses, an estimated 13,000 of the system's 260,000 have struggled with unstable housing. How is it that the systems that are supposed to propel our students to excellence are the first propelling our students into struggles some might have never imagined they'd experience?
It depends on the day. Usually Fridays are a little bit slower, but we average around 100 to 150 students per day. And on average per week, we serve about 500 to 600 students.
Are you witnessing more people in need as the years pass?
So we've had an additional study now after our initial 62.5% of UCR students being food insecure, 42% UC-wide. We've had additional studies at this point that point out that it's pretty much staying the same. Obviously, that's not a good thing either because that's pretty high, it's not that low, but we have seen more people coming to the pantry recently. So we're not exactly sure if that means more people are in need or if that just means that more people are aware of us as a resource at this point, because it's kind of counterintuitive, I guess, in my sense, where we used to be in a very open space at the hub, and now we're in a more enclosed space that a lot of people don't know about, but we're getting more students to come, and it is a bigger space, but it just doesn't quite add up when you kind of think about it. But we just don't know if that's because people just want the resource because we do not check financials at the art pantry, or if it's like a growing need. But I do suspect that there may be a growing need as tuition always is going up, right? Well, usually with food insecurity, we get a lot of students who also are having problems financially with being able to keep up with school, your tuition, as well as with just books and other expenses for school. But then you have those worst cases where these students are facing homelessness. And so we don't have any statistics on the homelessness percentage. There is a study called the Hope Lab. The Hope Lab, they do a lot of studies on this sort of thing, and their 2015 study, I believe, is one where they did a survey on food insecurity and also homelessness for community college students specifically around the country, and they found that 13% of students were homeless, 52% were food insecure. And so a common issue that we see with a lot of these students is that if they're lagging in the food security aspect, they're also lagging in the rest of their basic needs as well, or maybe a select few basic needs, because unfortunately financial aid only can do so much, and for some students it's not even grants, it's loans, so eventually they'll have to deal with that as well and think about it after 6 months having to have interest on that and figuring out how to pay for that too.
Homeless youth in college not only have to undergo the same stress and pressures of their schoolwork, but also have the added pressure of having to decide where they're going to sleep at night.
if homeless at 16 years old, they're at the same spot that you're at. Okay, they've already decided that they're going to do this and etc., and that they've already researched where they're going to study. Okay, what they're going to study. For a person that is not homeless, took some work. I'm sure you had to undertake some effort to get there, right? For a person that is homeless, takes a lot of the same effort, except for that they are struggling with other efforts.
Thus, they often have nowhere to turn to. Focusing on survival, homeless youth often have difficulty earning a high grade point average and graduating from high school. For example, only 6 of 54 homeless youth surveyed in 2007 by the California Research Bureau said they had a high school diploma or equivalent, which are sadly the requirements for acceptance to UCs and CSUs. Even with the solid requirements, applying to these colleges is a challenge. Despite these challenges, when asked what kind of support or help would you need in order to go back to school, none of the homeless youth surveyed by the California Research Bureau mentioned support during the application process. Instead, their responses emphasized the need for immediate stability and addressing basic needs such as housing, food, and clothes. One such student is Ismail Chamu, son of migrant parents from Mexico, whose star student status earned him a place at the elite UC Berkeley. However, he is one of tens of thousands of California college students afflicted by the state's affordable housing crunch. He and his 3 other siblings are forced to live in a small trailer that they are due to be evicted from, meaning the stressful scramble for shelter will soon begin again. Capable of taking care of his work at Berkeley, he simply pleads for assistance with his housing situation, admitting that, "I try to do the best I can, but I still don't get ahead. You take 1 foot forward and a giant leap backward. You can't live off of that."
It, it tells you that I am still homeless, I am still struggling, but I figured something out, and that is that if I can manage to survive in my homelessness until I finish school, I will have ended my homelessness. So school is going to save me from my life. But I'm gonna graduate, I'm gonna get a grade, I'm gonna finish school, and magically, I'm gonna have a degree, I'm gonna get a job, I'm gonna find a house, and
Thousands of California's homeless youth, ages 18 to 24, aspire to a life beyond daily struggles to meet basic needs and survive. Today, there are fewer well paying jobs for those without a college degree. A quote from The Color of Water by James McBride reads, "My parents were non materialistic. They believed that money without knowledge was worthless, that education tempered with religion was the way to climb out of poverty in America, and over the years they were proven right." McBride and his 12 biracial siblings paved their way out of poverty using one essential tool: education. Their mother, Ruth, ingrained the power of knowledge into their minds and pushed them to do more with their lives. Like James McBride, many young people experiencing homelessness recognize that a college education will help them through these critical years, as it is their chance to escape the cycle of poverty they grew up in. It is their chance to avoid being the next generation of homelessness and instead be the next generation of dreamers and doers as they're supposed to be.
Honestly, we need more people to want to open shelters like this, open nonprofits. We need people to get into grant writing. We need people to get into public policy. Um, just a whole lot of things that we need help with, and it's not even just programs. It's people running those programs. We need people who want to be staying interested in this. So think about getting into public policy, public health, opening up nonprofits, opening up shelters, opening up, starting charities, food drives. You think about it, you think it takes a lot of people, you need like a huge corporation to do something, but honestly, one or two people can to start to make a difference, whether it's, you know, collecting clothes or starting awareness groups, you know, telling people about, you know, telling people about us, getting the name out there, getting people aware of the services that are just even out here, because a lot of people don't even know that we're here for them. A lot of parents, they will, if they don't care about themselves, they care about their kids. They want their kids to be safe. They want to know that their kids are okay, that their kids are getting help, and that they ultimately are living in a safe environment, because the risks of being victimized living on the streets is very high.
Many of these programs, such as Operation Safe House, aren't entirely heard of by the public. Likewise, some students at UCR don't even know about the pantry or other similar helpful resources offered to students. Great opportunities like these wither away because no one deems them important enough to spread the word. Similarly, funding is a major contributor to the shortage and demise of such programs, which is why there is still a large population of homeless youth even after these causes have been assessed. With the augmentation of these resources, as well as through a combined effort, we can empower our next generation of teachers, doctors, engineers, and scientists to refocus their attention on their own education and clear up the blurred horizons of their future.
And like groups like you guys are awesome, because you guys are our future. Doing projects like this, that's honestly, like, you guys are doing the best thing for us, for the community. Like, you guys are doing the right thing.